This is Chief Honeybear in Pasadena, California with Joseph. We're talking about how the police just murdered someone by kneeling on his throat for 8.5 minutes. And Joseph was telling me about his experiences in the county jail in Los Angeles, which they call the Twin Towers.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, I was raised by a military father, United States full bird Marine Colonel. Never had any contact, and that was in Reno, Nevada. Never had any contact with police or was arrested or anything until I was about 21. And and during the booking, I pretty much, I was brought to tears basically because they had this, he was a foreigner, but he was over here for like a wedding or something, and basically got too drunk and DUI, and they have these chairs that psychologically to the eye look very comfortable. But you have to act crazy to get into those. And so, but once you're in those, you have both hands chained, you have both feet chained, and I mean the booking process can take upwards to 2 days of just sitting in a room. The capacity is probably only 30 to 40 with about 200 people.
Are you able to move it all, or do they have how long do they have you strapped to these chairs?
Once you're in those chairs, you're in those chairs until you get a bed. So I mean, I've seen.
How long is that?
The one guy that I was talking to you about was in there for about a day and a half.
Can you go to the bathroom, or what can you do?
He literally was crying, saying he had feces by the time it was over, he had feces all over himself. He had snot all over his face.
When you do that, if you shit yourself, do they let you go then, or
no.
They just let you stay like that?
Yeah. You just sit there, and I mean, and once and even if you ask to see the superior officer, it's become such of like a ladder to where you just get another person who is. And in all honesty, like, they are overstressed and they are overworked, which is, I mean, it's no excuse for the way that they act. However, you get another person who just has more shit to deal with and doesn't want to deal with you. So the more you go up the ladder, the less you get any attention.
Well, they're torturing you, like to I don't know, like to gain compliance, or
yes.
They're trying to humiliate you and physically harm you because they have this kind of power that they're abusing.
Yes.
So, did you know that this was going to happen? Did you hear any stories, or was it a complete shock?
No, it's all pretty hush out, and it's weird how they do it. It's once you leave the doors of the Twin Towers and you're free, the torture that goes on in there. Is so that it's never even really talked about out here. Like, so the bullshit that goes on in there is never really portrayed to the public. We just come out again with, and by the way, I've heard and seen stories where people go in who have a family, 3 kids, job, $300 in their pocket when they get arrested, and nothing when they get out, and now they don't have a job. And now some of them are getting deported. Some of them are losing their houses, and some of them are losing their kids, dude. Like, it's...
Well, they're out of control. I mean, I know I got here 5.5 years ago. I didn't want to come to California, but there are various reasons I did. And I'd read at that point that for the last 10 or 15 years, that there was one death by police killed at least one person a week on average. And then over the last several years, it's been 2 people a week. And this thing, I think it was in Minnesota, where the cop tried to. I mean, he said that the security guard wasn't complying with his orders, and he got on his neck. He kneeled on his neck for 8.5 minutes. The guy's telling him he's under a lot of distress. Everything hurts. He can't breathe. People are telling him to get off him. He's killing him. And he just stayed on 8.5 minutes, even 2 minutes after he stopped breathing, in order to kill him. And that just can't be allowed. We were told by the police that you can't resist police. You can't fight them. It's against the law. They'll kill you. They'll put you in prison. But when you see a cop killing someone, I mean, George Washington said, the second Article B of the Bill of Rights, that we must be armed to defend against all threats, foreign and domestic, to defend ourselves, our family, our friends. And this cop was murdering someone, and there were all these people, and no one stopped. I mean, if everyone would have jumped him and killed him, I don't know if there would have been any judge or jury that would have convicted them. And the cops in jail now, I think, we see a cop murdering someone, we have to
Well, and that's
attack
why
him.
they have citizen's arrest.
Yeah.
And that's another reason I believe that we have citizen's arrest. However, how are you gonna go to arrest a cop with a bulletproof vest, an AK, a turtle squad, which is basically the full? You're not hurting that guy. That's Batman's
Right.
suit.
They've got the flak jackets,
Yeah.
harder to punch them. But there's so many of us, and there are 10,000 cops in Los Angeles, city of Los Angeles, and there are 4.1 million people. I think there are 350 cops in Pasadena, but 135,000 people. So if we start fighting, if all of us, if you see someone being attacked by the police, if everyone there jumps at police, they're gonna get fucked up.
Yeah, but here and not to go against what you're saying, when I was in Wayside,
What is Wayside?
Wayside is it's for longer term. Like county is for short stay.
Right.
A couple days to 3 months.
Right.
Wayside, and they have north and south. North is for hardened criminals.
Is that a prison?
No, it's not a prison. Prison is Delano. I haven't been there, thankfully. Which I almost. Yeah, that's another story. One night I was in my bunk and I thought it was a movie, dude. I swear to God, I thought it was a movie of somebody being tortured. But when I kept waking up after like the third time and still hearing it, I realized that's a police officer, a guard, which turned out he was actually a gang member. So now they have gang members that are on the police force.
Oh yeah.
That are doing bidding. So it's getting, the longer we wait, man, the more the snake gets in there, and it's just
This Vita Goon Squad they have, they're all gangsters, and they have protected businesses like that 2010 North Los Robles between Washington and Woodbury, where they have children chained to beds and being used as prostitutes, and nobody's doing anything about it.
Yeah, and I think I actually heard a story, not a story, I believe it to be fact, 100%, that the Pope now is bringing little girls and little boys into the rooms and asking each other in front of each other very devious, very sexual questions to. I mean, it's borderline pedophilia what they're doing to distort the idea of love between a man and a woman.
Yeah.
And just trust in general, and that's our Pope, man. And that's
Are you Catholic?
Yes, I was
Yeah.
raised in Catholic school. Yes.
This one is very different from the other ones, and I'm not sure if it's better or worse. Some people are comparing him to Lucifer. They're saying that last Pope Benedict was very much like Satan, but this Pope is implicated in South America. They said he and his predecessor were cooperating with the dictatorial government, and when human rights groups would come in to see the condition of prisoners, they were being held in the churches, and they would put them on airplanes and throw them from the airplanes without parachutes.
And see, like that right there, that's the devil, in a sense. If you think about it, we're talking about truth and forward thinking, and noise, music, in a sense, comes along and tries to distract either the listener or the viewer right now. And what you were saying about that, it's a very terrifying experience, and whether or not anybody wants to believe it or not, whether Albert Einstein came up with it or not, or whoever, energy is neither created nor destroyed. So that energy and that fear went somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And
I think they're purposely trying to get fear because they made people say there's a hormone that's released that they actually drink the blood and it gets them high.
yes, the adrenaline, and that's actually from the pineal gland, gets released into the blood. It's the same thing if you kill, or if you take down an animal silently with a bow, which is why the Native Americans did it this way. They did it with the bow, so that way it wouldn't urinate itself and make the meat go bad, and also the testosterone and the adrenaline wouldn't be released because it gives it a very sour taste. So yeah, I mean, and this is, my son passed away. His name is Rowan, which in Hindu means original. I didn't know that until he passed away. And it says in Genesis, the life is in our blood. And until our blood touches this realm, or whatever you want to call it, this reality, it's innocent. So even our veins, in a sense, is innocent because it hasn't touched the surface yet. However, here's what I basically learned is Kaiser Permanente, or permanent collector of souls, abortion. They are taking children before they've hit reality, which reality is re is a prefix meaning prior to, and duality being the root word means an opposition of the same forces. So you're always living and you're always reminiscing in the past and always looking for the future, never living in the present. And people don't understand that words mean a lot, but yet they don't.
Well, how did you get out here? So you're very well educated, I can tell. How did you get out in the street?
Well, I mean, they told me that my son was no longer existing, and
When did this happen?
this happened early August, about
This past year?
2018,
Oh, 2018.
2019.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it kind of, not in a sense, factually, it released certain memories, because my biological father was also sentenced to death in Missouri State Prison in 2014.
What happened there?
Basically, he was convicted of 22 murders. He was on Bill O'Reilly. I don't believe him to have actually done those murders. They claim, this is just what I've read, that he was a Grand Master Chief of the Ku Klux Klan. However, with the memories that I have of my father, his name is also Joseph, he was doing work for God, and it's basically. And when you're doing work for God, you take it back to Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel. So his blood, the devil is underneath the ground. So when the blood goes in the ground, like when we bury our dead, we're feeding the devil. We're just supposed to let everything be, like Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. Don't worry about that. The dead will that's why we have ravens and crows. They take care of all of our, that's why we don't. Anyways.
Well, this had to have an effect on your life. Things are very difficult in California compared to most of the country, like compared to Chicago, where I'm from. There's a lot more homelessness and poverty out here. We're in Pasadena, and I was walking by the Paseo, Colorado, and there's a real estate firm there, and I was looking on the monitor, houses that appear to be shacks that in Chicago might cost $150,000 to go for $800,000. Like to rent a room out here in a transient hotel, like across the street from Slater 5050, it's $1,000 a month. This guy named Isaiah sells roses, stays there. He's going to stay there even though he can't pay the rent. He's not selling roses because Donald Trump said he can't be evicted until January, but he's going to owe $8,000, and don't sleep in your car. It's a transient hotel. Just get out. His life is going to be ruined because of this COVID-19 scam, where they're telling you have to stay home. You might get the flu. We have the authority to close all businesses.
And see, that's a scary, because on a metaphysical level, they have no authority. They again, like we were speaking, they are trying to instill this fear into our genetics, to create this traditional curse, to where we just fear nothing. In a sense, it's really nothing. It's an idea, an ideology. However, I mean, there is one that is greater, and will come and back to I wound up becoming homeless because they told me that my son had passed away of cystic hygroma, which is a chromosome disorder, and it came from my genetics. And it made me question just everything. How can you tell me that a part of me is dead? And my eyes never got to see where the body went.
Joseph, we're the 15 mark. I gotta stop right here, but if you want to, we can do another one.
Yeah.
Okay.